What's up everybody? Today we're going to be tying a really cool bugger style jig for bass and trout. So to start off, this is a 1/16 ounce pill jig head. I put some eyes on there and I powder painted it with black and then sprinkled some Disco Autumn Pro-Tech powder paint over the black to give it a cool two-tone look. For the thread, we're going to be using black UTC Ultra Thread 70 denier. We're just going to start that behind the head and take it down to the point of the hook. For the tail, we're going to be using 2 black marabou feathers. So we're just going to line those up so the tips are even, and then we're going to run our fingers up the stems to make sure all the fibers sit back how we want them. Then we're going to measure it out so that the length is a little longer than the hook shank. Since this is a bugger pattern, it's going to be a little longer. Then we can pinch that right where we're going to tie it in. Give it about 5 or 6 really tight wraps and then let go, and we can wrap it up the rest of the way. We want to wrap those feathers up to the head, and once we get them there, we can clip those off. Just like that. And now we're going to clean this up a little bit. Just go over the fluffy parts with the thread, and then bring the thread back down to where we tied in the tail. For the body, we're going to be using 3 materials. So the first one is schlappen. We're going to use 1 black and 1 brown schlappen. And then we're going to use UV polar chenille. This is olive copper UV. We're going to basically braid these together and create a really cool body. So we're going to tie in the schlappen feathers at the head of the jig. Just tie the tips right at the head and then bring the thread down to where we tied in the tail once we got that secured. Now we're going to grab our UV polar chenille and tie the tip of that at the head as well. Once we got all 3 of those tied in, we can bring our thread down to where we tied in the tail. Make sure you keep those materials straight so that they don't get trapped. And once we've secured those down at the tail, we can bring our thread back up to the head. And now we're going to twist these materials together. So grab your 2 schlappen feathers and your chenille. Make sure you get a firm grip and just start twisting those. Just keep twisting. And you don't want to twist too much because the feathers can break. So to help with this a little, we're going to grab a comb tool and just comb through this. This will tease out any of the fibers and make it so we don't have to twist it up as much to get them all mixed up. So as we comb that out, you can see now that it kind of looks like it was made this way. It doesn't look like 3 separate materials. This is what we're going for. We want it to all mesh together well. And once you have that, we can start twisting it. So we want to start winding that at the tail, and then pull the previous material back into another wrap, and then you can just wrap your way up the body. And if materials start to get trapped, you can pull them back again. So just keep making your way up the body. Make sure each turn is pressed against the last. If you need to brush it out again, like halfway through, you can do that. Just keep working your way up the body until you get to the head. And when you're at the head, just make sure you secure that down really well. Want to make sure you get 7 or 8 good wraps. Then get a couple wraps in front of the material. Make sure it's all pulled back so it doesn't get trapped. And once you're happy with that, you can cut the butt ends. Just be really careful. And there you go. So as you can see, this thing looks crazy right now. All these materials are just fanned out everywhere. So we're just going to do a bunch of thread wraps right here at the head. And to control these materials even more and make it look more realistic, we're going to add one last material. So we're going to use Fly Fish Foods Bruiser Blend Junior in brown. Just going to grab a clump of that and we're going to stack the fibers. So you just keep pulling through the fibers and lining them up every time you pull out the fibers. This will make sure they're all lined up, and once they are, you can spread them out vertically like this. This is going to be our collar of the jig. So we're going to pull those body fibers back and then hold the bruiser blend fibers with just enough pressure to keep them in place. Do a super loose wrap of thread and then pinch it down tight. This should make the bruiser blend fibers wrap all the way around the body. This is what we're after. And once you're happy, you can pull all the fibers back and then just wrap your thread in front of those. And this is what it should look like right now. So we're just going to do a bunch more thread wraps in front just to make sure everything stays back. And now we're going to whip finish. So we're going to do a 5 or 6 turn whip finish. And you could do a double whip finish if you want. I like to do a double on bigger jigs like this. So I'm just going to do that one more time. Pull your thread tight and cut the thread. Just be careful not to cut the bruiser blend fibers. And there you go. So now we're going to brush through the bruiser blend with our comb tool. Just cover that whole thing, and this will just pull any loose fibers out and make it a really uniform shape. There you have it. This is our completed jig. It's pretty crazy, but it's a very effective bugger pattern. Let me get it wet and show you what it looks like. So when it's wet, you can see it has a nice bait fish profile. It has a lot of cool copper and UV tones to it. As you fish it, when you have slack in the line, the body material will look like it was when it was crazy. It'll be kind of spiky. Then when you put tension on it and jig it, it will have this nice rounded bait fish profile, and it'll just keep switching between the two as you fish it. So it's just really cool. It attracts a lot of fish, has a ton of action. This is an awesome jig for getting finicky fish to bite. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe.